You know I'm about to get serious when I bring out a turtleneck. But anyway, if you haven't noticed, in the past 20 hours or so, the online tech community self-combusted in a way that makes Hawaii look like a campfire. And actually it all began when Gamers Nexus posted their expose on Linus Media Group and the many mistakes they have made in the past and continue to do to this very day. Now we knew that the relationship between Gamers Nexus and LMG have already been strained for a while. Ever since the whole Trust Me Bro fiasco, the fact that Steve said that LMG should be treated more like a corporate entity rather than a YouTube media outlet, and the fact that even though LTX was supposed to bring together all the biggest names in the tech community, there was one YouTube channel very clearly missing. Now obviously I won't recap the whole video, mainly because it's 40 minutes long and you're really just better off watching it yourself for all the details. However, I did want to provide my own spin and commentary on the situation, mainly because, well, it's interesting and also I'm a parasite who likes feeding off others' content. A vast majority of the video is simply about the many mistakes in the data that LMG have been making in recent months. Now me saying that is unacceptable and a company their size should have better quality assurance isn't really anything new or special of a statement, and while definitely some of it can come down to the recent shift over to the brand new LTT Labs project, it's definitely no excuse either, and I can definitely see it as a bit daunting to try and prove all the naysayers wrong when the start of LTT Labs has been, well, less than ideal. And again, there can be mistakes along the way, but seeing how no one can spot such blatant mistakes, such as that infamous Cyberpunk draft in the RTX 2090 review, is definitely concerning, and hopefully at the end of the day it will drive them to make labs as concrete as possible when it comes to evidence about how certain parts perform, and well, they have a lot to prove right now. Though one thing I am kind of surprised about that Steve didn't mention in his video is the recent conversation on a WAN show where Linus and Luke were basically brainstorming ideas about bringing in community fact checkers for their videos. And they were a bizarre conversation about whether or not they should be paid or not, because according to Linus, if they are being paid some sort of commission to fact check the videos, they might as well be working for LMG, which is kind of a stretch, but whatever. But if they can clearly see that it is a problem and there are a lot of mistakes slipping through the cracks, then, you know, maybe they should just hire someone? Now this has definitely resurfaced a pretty old conversation when it comes to any YouTube channel, and that is the quality v quantity debate, which I for one absolutely hate. And with such an aggressive upload schedule like LMG, who'd make like what, 25 videos a week now or something, it is a debate that comes up a lot, with even a lot of the staff at the company bringing it up, something that Gamers Nexus also brought up a lot in their video. Which, wait a second, if Linus was not supposed to watch that video where the staff added grievances, but he probably watched Steve's video on the matter where he has snippets of that video, does that mean he broke the cardinal rule of that video? Truly, that is the most important question of this entire conversation. Now, the reason I absolutely hate the argument is because of the way YouTube is, and also because of how the word quality is thrown around, especially in the tech sphere of YouTube. Because when it comes to the question of should LMG slow down, the simple answer is probably not. LMG have a lot of staff to support, which places them in a bit of a catch-22 when it comes to actually supporting such a large number of staff, because they can, for example, publish less videos, which means they make less money, or they can, say, hire more people to work on these videos so the quality stays up, which also means that they make less money. But what exactly do we even mean by the quality v quantity conundrum when it comes to channels like LTT? Because on the surface, I mean, what can they improve when it comes to quality? They use the highest quality cameras, the cinematography is off the charts, they have intricate unique set design, and they even have time to put funny b-roll and sketches into their content. When it comes to the pure quality, both technical and in terms of the pacing and contents of the video, it all seems fine. However, what is less fine is the actual accuracy of the data, which is what people have the real concerns with. Which is why the whole quality over quantity debate is such a weird one on YouTube, because it places a very blanket statement over a very specific issue that LMG have. I mean, I for one have been constantly bombarded with that kind of similar advice before when my very aggressive schedule is brought up of 5 videos, 2 shorts per week, and that is just on the primary Everrunner channel, with some additional content on the Everrunner World channel as well. And if I was given more time per video, thing is, those videos would probably remain the exact same, because I already include pretty much everything I want into every single of my videos, and it's certainly not rushed in any way that is detrimental to the quality. And again, for the most part, that also applies to companies like LMG. But I can rant about that a whole day, so let's just move on, because let's be honest, no one cares. Now, there's a lot of mistakes that LMG have recently made that Steve goes into in his video, with probably the most egregious one being the Billet Labs water block, which, against the wishes of the company, they auctioned off at a recent event. And by the way, can we as a community try and actually hunt down that original prototype if possible, so it can actually be properly tested with the proper hardware it was intended for? Like, that would actually be pretty cool. If anyone knows anywhere of getting in touch with whoever has that block now, that would be awesome. But again, you probably already know all of that, because I bet my DIY custom-made LTT screwdriver, which I got for free at LTX, that you've already seen Steve's video. However, there have been some updates since then, including a proper statement from Linus Tech tip Sebastian himself about the situation. First and foremost, stating that there will be little to no commentary on the situation on the upcoming WAN show. Probably because whenever Linus does discuss a controversy of theirs on a WAN show, he just digs himself into a deeper hole, but whatever. And he uses this opportunity to criticize Gamers Nexus that he didn't get in touch with Linus first before publishing the video. And what's weird is how many people actually agree with Linus on that point, but like, why? Seeing how LMG is a very publicly facing company, and all the issues that Gamers Nexus have with them are about things they publicly stated, I don't think there should be any room for details shared in private to make any difference on the matter or the concerns that Gamers Nexus had. If there was any evidence or any details or context that Linus had that could have saved face in the situation, it should have already been published. And as such, pretty much the only thing I can imagine a private conversation entailing being a monetary proposition to not publish this video about LMG and the many mistakes they have made. Now, of course, throughout this quasi-apology, Linus takes many other pot shots, and not just Gamers Nexus, but also the community itself, for how, quote, quick they were to get the pitchforks in this situation, even though in the most recent WAN show, Linus himself said that,
"You know that the community is not going to let us off the hook if we try and do anything other than whatever's right, and so they shouldn't." That is, I consider that a feature, not a bug. I've settled on that.
And actually, the community reaction has been pretty great overall. But the thing is, it has been a very consistent pattern for LMG. Just look at the subreddit and how many of the top posts of all time are all related to something that Linus done wrong. And in fact, as I record this video, this post right here is already the third highest rated post of all time on the subreddit after just 16 hours or so of going live. And it has spread to other communities as well, with PCMR also being flooded with, well, many memes about the situation. And other than that, things seem to be pretty normal at LMG so far. They continue to publish videos despite the massive community backlash against him so far. Videos which include a mic roundup, which features a scene where the screenshot of the same review is featured twice in one frame, and where Epos Vox had to call him out for improper use of frequency response graphs. You just can't make it up at this point. Now, naturally, this whole thing is an optics nightmare for LMG, and I don't think I've ever seen the entire community so weaponized against them as I've seen today. It's been definitely close on some instances, but never on this scale. But is it actually a good thing, or will anything actually change? Are LMG just too big to fail at this point? Or could we actually see a pretty major paradigm shift of the major superpowers in the tech influencer space? Let me know what you think down below, but it's certainly interesting, especially for smaller creators like myself, who sure, do still like the content, and we were invited out to events like LTX and were given hundreds of dollars worth of free LMG merch, and still hope that LMG will continue to do good and be a good bastion of the community. But at the same time, everyone, whether they want to publicly state it or not, are wishing for their own 2 minutes in the spotlight as well, and are probably looking forward to, you know, the vultures coming in, pecking away at the carcass of LMG, or, you know, the barbarians coming in and picking away at what's left of the Roman Empire. Now, that's not to say that LMG will fall. Like I said, they are probably too big to fail at this point, but we could still see a big shift as to where people go to get the latest tech news and information. And as all of us smaller creators are basically just forced to drink the leftover milk from the teat of LMG, that was a terrible analogy, why they say that. It can definitely feel rewarding to see them get their comeuppance in hopes that maybe some of that audience will make their way over to our channels. But at the same time, people do actually rely on LMG getting those views. People are working there whose jobs are potentially at stake if things go bad. And I don't want them to fail. I think they can still be an excellent figurehead of the entire community. But clearly, things have gotten to a point where, well, something has to be done. What will actually be done? Honestly, who knows? Either way, scrolling through and trying to make something resembling a coherent video about this entire situation has definitely been difficult. So if you want to at least, I don't know, show your support somehow and ensure that this company doesn't go under, then maybe check out our Patreon, because even a single $1 a month truly goes a long way. Well, you get awesome perks as well. Plus also huge thanks to our existing patrons, Gavin Burns, LKB, Justin Rage, Vroniak, Polish Welcome, Next Sumner, Shrinkcraft, Lance B, and Level Up. But anyway, that's what it's. I hope you enjoyed this very long video. If you did, then remember, subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all whenever I make next. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.